Okay, welcome to my first video actually designed for general public rather than just to be like my previous ones showing off my new Gambi that were just designed to be sent to a couple of friends. I just got my new buckler from Medieval Extreme, so pretty excited, and I thought I might as well continue the trend of the kind of like beginner putting together kit series. So again, I don't plan on doing any kind of like training tips videos or anything like that. There are like way too many fighters out there with way more skill than I will ever have doing all of that kind of stuff. But I just thought I might have like a slightly niche, unique journey at the moment in terms of like being like a newbie getting back into it, but with a little bit of experience from having kind of done it once before and learning from some of the mistakes I made previously and making some new mistakes, no doubt, this time around. So yeah, again, if you already have kit and you know what you're doing, probably going to get very bored watching any of my videos. Well, probably wouldn't bother watching any of my videos. But if you're new and getting back into it, or if you're like me and you used to do it for a little bit back in the day and you're kind of getting back into it, these may or may not be interesting. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to open the box. So basically, some of my priorities for getting back in, like for gear-wise, like purchases, was obviously you really want to get yourself a gambeson as soon as possible, because that's what you need to take your measurements for all of the rest of your armor off. You can borrow a mate's Gambi and take measurements off that, but then if your gambeson ends up being a different size, then that might not line up, and those little bits of differences might, you know, add up over time and just be really, really annoying. So nothing exciting yet. I love all the little Medieval Extreme stickers that they always throw in. Choose kindness, that's a different one. Usually it's choose violence. Again, I'll skip through this. Oh yeah, this one's sick. I've seen this one on some people's gear, it looks awesome. Okay, and then obviously the really cool little cards. But yeah, anyway, down to the actual kit. So, you know, getting a gambeson was the first thing I ordered. I remember a lot of the advice when I got back into last time also was prioritize getting a helmet and gloves, because they're the hardest things to borrow and they're the most like niche to your individual size. So I did order a helmet and a gambeson, sorry, a helmet and a brig already, but they're going to take a long time. And I got really lucky with a set of gauntlets being in stock from Medieval Extreme. So I managed to get myself those, and I already had my axe. So I just really wanted a buckler, so that with my buckler and my axe, I can start doing pel work and build up that muscle memory. So to be able to fight, obviously having your own helmet and gauntlets is like key. You can borrow a lot of other stuff easier than you can borrow gauntlets and a helmet. But for building up, on the other side, for building up your own skill level, putting in time on the pel is one of the things that's going to get you fighting well the best, other than your actual team training, grappling stuff, which you can do in soft kit, which your club will have. But for doing your own shit at home, having like whatever shield, sword, buckler combination you're going to have, so you can start bashing away the pel, is obviously key. So I already had my axe from previously, so the buckler was like the next step. And again, I did take the shortcut and just go for, I found an in-stock steel buckler. I had been planning on going titanium for the buckler straight out the gate. However, the steel one was like $100 cheaper US, I think, and was in stock. And I just really want to get that muscle neural connection firing as soon as possible. So I thought something a little bit heavier, build up the muscle, and how satisfying is that? Something a little bit heavier, and like whilst I hate the idea of having to like maintain steel, I'm trying to do as much titanium as possible to save time, because I'm incredibly time poor, being a dad and a shift worker. A buckler is pretty easy to polish compared to like a lot of armor bits that are really hard to get into and it's going to take forever. So like a buckler should be a lot easier. It will be a lot easier to keep maintain. Alright, so damn. Alright. Also, oh, that's cool. One thing I learned from the videos I filmed for my mates with Gambi is that I really hate the sound of my own voice. So apologies in advance for anyone who is suffering through this, like I will when I rewatch it, and just really wants to see the gear and is putting up with it. You're a true champion. So yeah, so that's the front. That looks beautiful. I love it. The rear, super comfy, slightly spongy leather, so it's like got a nice bit of grip there, and obviously a little wrist bit. So there's one thing I'm very anxious to see, and that will be, well, I'll show you in a sec if I can do it. I've got to get my gauntlets real quick. Alright, I've just got them sprayed to the absolute gills because these are steel. Although Medi Extreme does do some titanium gauntlets now. Like they're a little expensive, but maybe that's like a down the road treat myself thing later on. So just throw this bad boy on for now. You can see the fit. I've got quite a large hand. So these gauntlets were like the I think 10 to 11 centimeter palm size. Okay, so that's in there quite nicely. I do plan on wearing some inner gloves just to protect my bare skin there. Maybe I won't worry about it with the gauntlet side, the buckler one. But it's a bit, like I've got them when I do my pel work, but they're a bit of a pain in the ass to get on and off, which is good, means your gauntlets won't slip off. But for just something quick like this, not very practical. Alright, so the new fresh leather is nice and stiff. Got its buckle, which is fine. I'm trying to do it one-handed. I'll just put it on the first hole because that'll be the easiest. And you guys don't want to spend all day watching this. Okay. Alright, so that is, yeah, that feels good. So quite a nice comfy fit. It's sitting in there really snug without me having to even hold it. So if you're, you know, like your hands can get a bit fatigued if you're like death gripping something the whole time. But that you can be pretty relaxed for most of the time, especially like between strikes. If you're kind of coming back, you can just have a bit of a relaxed palm and then just clench up for the punch, which, that's good. Yeah, that looks good. I was worried, I've seen some people's buckler and it looks a bit more, sits at kind of like that sort of an angle. But this one is nice and linear. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Like a nice straight line, so that when I punch, all that force that's generated is going straight through to this thin edge. Sometimes you see them in a bit of an angle like that, and you see people punching with this bit, which is, you know, cool. That still works, and that's still potentially a bit of an option. But if you want to like, like just punch someone straight on, whoops. That's my theory anyway, that was my thinking. So that's exactly how I want it, which is sick. Awesome. Okay, that feels great. That there is doing its job. Rattle around pretty limp, it's not going anywhere. Awesome. And then the other thing I really want to test for this, wow, the video is nearly 10 minutes already. So the other thing I really want to test is, okay, if I can, this might be giving away some trade secrets, but so okay, so obviously that feels good, not too heavy. I was using a shield just for some of my pedal practice. Nothing weighs about 2.5 kilos. Really adds up. This thing is I think it's 1.5 kilos for the steel. There is a stainless steel one which is like 2 kilos. So if you want something really heavy and you're like a big strong dude and you just want something heavy and you just want to wail on people, that would be your option. And then if you really want to be like maximum speed, definitely you want the titanium, because the titanium one was 1 kilo. So big difference, 0.5 kilo, that's like 50% extra weight. I'm happy to just slog it out with the 1.5 one. The pros and cons is like, yes, it's a bit heavier, but yes, you can deliver more force as long as you have the fitness and or strength, or fitness and strength to deliver that. So you won't be hitting as hard when you're gassed. So it's not like, oh, you're heavier will just mean I hit harder. Once you get gassed, you're going to be hitting a lot weaker. So that's your pros and cons. You know, you make your choices, trial and error. So that's what these videos are like for me. I'll probably do a video in a month or two, or in a couple of months, and I might just be like, oh, I am such a dickhead. I should not have rushed, and I should have been more patient. But again, pretty happy with that. Yeah, so the other thing is that I wanted to see is if I can still two-handed grip. And I can just barely, like I can get in there. So perks of having bigger hands, I can still get on. And then, okay, that's sick. And then other side. Okay, so that's something that I was really anticipating, nervous about, whether or not I would be able to do that. Not that I want to be running around two-handed all the time like that, but I just wanted to be able to have it as an option in my repertoire. I'm working with a good friend of mine. I don't know if he wants a shout out or not, so I will wait. But I'm working with a good friend of mine. We're making some like wooden shields that'll just have a leather strap rather than this steel handle. That'll give a lot more grip for any two-handed swings. But obviously I wanted to have the option to do the steel, especially because those wooden ones will break down pretty quick. So any training, I'll probably just use the steel, so that the steel can, you know, train with a heavy weight, build the muscles. This will take a beating and not wear away. And then in fights, when I need the lighter weight, I can swap out for the wooden shield punch, go through them, but save them for special occasions for when I really, really need them. But yeah, so I'm glad I can still get a two-handed grip on there. Speaking of which, the other one I was curious about too, just to see if I could get an actual pole arm on there. A little bit hard to see. Don't have much room to swing this thing. And that's how we break our phone, people. But yeah, that's not too bad. I don't know if that'd probably get very old very quickly. You know, if you were to try and go like do boo hurts, that might get pretty old pretty fast. But I guess if I'm running around with like a one-handed axe and buckler and I just need a two-hander to finish someone off, like maybe it's 2v1 and the other guy's got him against a rail, maybe I can run off, grab this, still get a couple of swings in without having to like ditch my buckler, which can be awkward. Yeah, alright, sick. So that's still an option. Okay, that's it. That wraps that up. Once I've done some bit more pedal work and got in that, if there's any need for additional videos, I might put that through. But in the meantime, that will do. Thank you very much for listening to the handful of friends who are out there. And anyone who doesn't know me, who enjoyed it, you're welcome.